Ahoy, Captain Breadhook! Look what I found! A treasure trove of peaches from the shipwreck a few days ago. Ah, that's a fine discovery, Marina. And I happen to have some super cream here. Cream cheese, to be precise. We can turn those peaches into pure bliss. And by the way, you can breathe underwater if you're near a mermaid. Well, how about we make a peaches and cream cake then? I like to aim high with my cakes. Let's make it tall as a tall ship. And I prefer to keep things closer to the earth, about as short as a mermaid without a tail. So what be the plan? Let's do both. We can have our cake and eat it too. And preheat your oven to 325. And let's make this original recipe. Both cakes have the same thing with the peaches. Take a pound of peaches, that's about 3 goodly sized peaches. Cut half of them in cubes and the other half into slices. Add a tablespoon of sugar and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And give them all a good stir in there. We'll make the tall one first because tall ships be leading the way. Then, in a separate bowl, sift together 1½ cups of cake flour and 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. Give it a little stir around. Sifting makes for a finer crumb and makes the cake lighter and airier. Then take 3/4 cup of unsalted butter. And this is where you want to make sure everything is at room temperature so it all comes together the same. Add in 3/4 cup of sugar and beat that till it's light and good. Add in the zest of a lemon too, and make sure you don't shave all the way down to the white part, because that's bitter. And scrape the bowl as needed. You want to make sure everything is fully beaten together. Now, add in 3 eggs, 1 egg at a time. Crack it in, fully mix it in. Crack the next in. If your eggs aren't at room temperature, they'll make the butter clump back up again and get hard and chunky. Then you have a lumpy cake. So here's a tip on how to get them to room temperature. Plop them and your cream cheese in a bowl of warm water. They'll each be at the same temperature in about 10 minutes. Now add in your dry ingredients 1/3 at a time. Oh, and I just remembered the kosher salt. Add in 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. And just to make sure I don't overbeat the batter, I'm finishing this by hand. You always want to make sure cake batter is mixed as little as possible. Overbeating it can make gluten form and, well, then your cake turns out as tough as an old pirate's boot. Now here's the exciting part. We're going to bake the cream cheese filling right in with the cake. So to be a cream cheese cake. Take 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, softened just the way Marina Seaflame showed you. Smear that all around your bowl. Add in 1½ tablespoons of flour, 1/4 cup of sugar, and mix that all together. Add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. For the topping, take 1/4 cup of brown sugar and pack that in there to measure it right. 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1/2 cup of chopped nuts. I like pecans. So does St. Peter. You can see him here in this video. Now for your pan, you can use a springform pan or one with a removable bottom. I'm using the removable bottom, and you just spray it with baking spray with flour and line it with parchment paper. My mom would have buttered and floured it. And now we put it all together. Put half the batter in the pan. You can just eyeball it. Spread it around with an offset spatula. Place the cube peaches in a layer. Now, I pipe the cream cheese filling on. You can also dollop it in with a couple of spoons, but piping gets an even layer. Then, put the rest of the batter on top and carefully and slowly spread it around. Arrange the sliced peaches on top and sprinkle your nut mixture all around. Then bake for an hour and 10 to 20 minutes. It's a slower bake because of the height of the cake and the cream cheese filling. Now for the short and cute version, everything be pretty much the same as the tall except the amount of batter. Sift in 1 cup of cake flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Cream together half a cup, 1 stick of unsalted butter, half a cup of sugar, and the zest of a lemon. Add in only 2 eggs, 1 at a time. Then add in the dry ingredients in thirds the same way. Sifting is really important here to make sure there's no lumps in this little bit of batter. And you assemble it the same way and bake at 350 degrees for 50 to 55 minutes. And voila! Our peaches and cream cheese cakes are ready. Just sprinkle some powdered sugar on top for some added flair. They look marvelous, Marina. You really know your way around a kitchen. Thank you, Captain Breadhook. But this wouldn't have been possible without your delicious cream cheese. And your sweet peaches made all the difference. Now let's dig in. We make a great team, Captain Breadhook. Aye, we do, Marina. Short and tall, we nailed it. And there you go. Which one do you like? Leave a comment.